Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I've said that too much already, but the ship has sailed, and I know this isn't the type of show to bring their characters together. I know that. I see that going in, but I can't help how I feel, and the way I feel is that that ship has already passed the horizon. So this episode was basically broken up into 3 parts, all of which were revolving around Vana Bell. I guess I'll just talk about each one of them individually as we go through it, which I guess I would have done anyway, so I don't know why I bothered mentioning it. But here we are, so yay! Section 1! So I guess Taquita is just like their official laundry mat, or the person that does all their laundry. They have a throwaway line later in the episode that like all the newbies are the ones that do the chores. But at what point does that stop? She's been there for like 4 months already. I think they said 3 months in another episode. I have to imagine more time has passed. There's a lot of dead time in their job, but whatever. So she's going around doing laundry, and she finds like this drawn nude picture of Vanabelle while she's sleeping. And, like, she freaks out about it, obviously, because she jumps to the conclusion that someone was spying on her while she was asleep, and, like, they drew that picture of her while they were asleep, which would also mean that they could spy on her, because I believe they share a room, because they have a scene in their room later in the episode. So, like, she takes it to a bunch of the other guys from another room, and they, like, immediately start creeping on the photo. But honestly, though, they're a bunch of lonely aeronauts. What exactly did she think was going to happen? And like, how quickly they became creeps over that photo, or that drawing, I suppose, really tells me that they need to touch down a lot more than they do, because that was just too creepy, too fast, but whatever. Also, they all jumped to the conclusion that someone was like spying on her while she was asleep. But there are so many other reasons that photograph could exist. Like, just off the top of my head, right? There's no proof that he spied on her. He could have drawn it from memory. Maybe Vanabelle's secretly dating someone on the crew, and he drew, and it was a completely consensual, like, seeing her sleep, which I guess as consensual as it ever really could be, right? You're asleep, you can't give consent. I don't want to mount myself on that hill right now. Anyways, what if the photograph actually belongs to Vanabelle and the guy just took it and it was more theft than spying? I don't know. The point is, they jumped to a lot of conclusions very quickly, and she found it in the room that belonged to like Gyro, this blonde engineer guy named Hiro, and this guy named Gaga, not the lady, just Gaga. And turns out it's Gaga's, but before they figure that out, Taquita has this line that's like, oh, I don't see Hiro doing something like that. Well, why not? The guy's been a total jerk the entire time. I know it wasn't him, but I don't approve of the fact that she didn't think it could have been him. And so they find out that, like, Gaga drew it from memory, and they're like, oh, that's a relief. As long as you're not spying on us, I guess it's okay that you draw nude pictures of your crewmates. And I'm sitting here like, what? No, it's not. Like, he talks about how, like, it's for, like, this journal he's making, but I don't care. It's still not okay. The fact that you're doing it in secret should inform you that it's not okay. And they never reprimand them for that. It's like, yes, okay, you drew it from memory. You weren't spying on her, but it's still nude. She's still a crewmate. That's still very disrespectful and very inappropriate. So again, I have to ask, is there not an HR representative? Not that I think Vanabelle would be the type of person to care, because Vanabelle doesn't really care about much, which leads into the second section of the episode, which is really just Vanabelle talking with Taquita, because it kind of just turns out that Vanabelle is becoming more and more disillusioned with the job that she has. Not that she's not good at it, not that, like, she doesn't enjoy it, quote unquote. It's just that the only reason she is a Draker is because she had nothing keeping her on land, so she figured she'd just explore the skies and travel the world. But even that she's starting to become bored of. Even that she's kind of becoming disillusioned with, and her life is becoming more and more monotonous. And she talks to I almost said Vanitas from Kingdom Hearts. That's not who I'm talking about. But she talks to Taquita about it a little bit, because Taquita's having trouble with her hair. She helps her with it. She puts on like this hair perfume thing on Taquita, which leads into my first argument for why Vanabelle secretly loves Mika. Okay, we all love Mika. There's no secret. Everyone does. They let him do whatever he wants. But why I think Vana Bell secretly loves Mika is that Takita asks Mika whether or not he smells anything different about her because, like, she's wearing Vana Bell's perfume. And the look of disgust and disappointment that Vana Bell gives him when he doesn't compliment her perfume was both hilarious and very telling. Again, I don't see anything happening, but I can dream, guys. Allow me to dream. And that's really all Section 2 is. It's really just Vana Bell talking to Takita about how disillusioned she is. Them having that small scene in the laundromat. It's not even a laundromat. It's just next to the washing machine they have. And like, while they're down there, Mika doesn't compliment the perfume, but he does talk about a dragon that he smells off in the distance. And thus, Section 3, guys. They're hunting another dragon, and this one, I guess, has some sort of sound attack. It's like this giant round dragon that has, like, somehow can pulsate sound waves as an attack, as a way to defend itself. But before they even know that can happen, they tether it onto their ship, so now that it is tethered, it starts attacking the ship almost constantly and endlessly, and they have to retreat back into the ship. So the real problem becomes that this thing is tethered to the ship, it's releasing its sound wave blast so no one can get near it without, obviously being in pain, the headaches, all that. And then Mika just goes. He just goes. And then Gyro has that line where it's just like, Mika, you can't just do whatever you want. But guys, that's all he is. He's just a guy that does whatever he wants. He wants to slay dragons. He reminds me a little bit of like Goblin Slayer that way. Not in the way they act, because they're very different characters, but how just laser focused he is about what he wants in life. He knows what he's about, and he's about dragons. And I think, again, opposites attract, guys. He is like the complete opposite of Vana Bell. And she admits to Takita that she feels like a lost soul and that she's disillusioned and how the fire inside of her is just sort of dimming. And I can respect that. I know that feeling. We've all had that feeling. And I think that's why she's drawn to someone like Mika. Because he's so passionate. And as disillusioned as she is, as dead inside as she is, Mika is the exact same way in the complete opposite direction. He is as passionate as she is dead inside, and they kind of balance each other out, as I'm saying, because at the end of the day, both of them are the one that solved the problem. If Mika hadn't decided to just say, hey, you know what? I do what I want, and go after the dragon anyways, Vana Bell would have never have been there to land the finishing blow on the dragon. Mika couldn't do it on his own. She wouldn't have even attempted to do it on her own. And together, it's a match made in heaven. That, and Mika is the only person shown throughout the entire episode to actually draw genuine emotion out of her. Even though it's not always easy to tell, it's there, guys. And I felt it. And I need to come up with a couple name for them. I don't even know what it would be. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I can think of it. I'm going to call it Mika Bell. I'm Team Mika Bell for life, guys. Maybe not for life. We'll see. And some of you might be thinking, Kevin, what about Takita? She's right there. She's shown interest in Mika. But I don't think that's true. She's so far in the sister zone, it literally hurts. Not literally, but she just takes care of him. She like looks after him as if he was a brother. And I really actually like that the way that dynamic is forming. How like Takita is kind of becoming the like older sister of like everyone in the crew because no one is mature enough to take care of themselves, even though she's like younger than everyone. I kind of like that dynamic. She especially takes care of Mika, and I think that's where it's gonna go moving forward. But whatever. So Mika's passion rubs off on Vana Bell. The two of them slay the dragon together. The dragon shrinks down, which is kind of sad, but there's a lot to be said about that scene and like the motivations of both Mika and Vana Bell. She calls them out earlier on and is like, hey, do you really like killing dragons so much that you're willing to go out there and risk your life just so that you could kill it sooner? But I don't think it's about enjoying the hunt. I think it's more about Mika understanding that while the dragon is tethered, it's going to be suffering, possibly for hours, maybe days until it finally dies, and which was the plan of everyone else. And Mika said, no, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to slay this magical creature, and I'm going to end its misery. And I think Vana Bell understood that, and that's why she delivered the killing blow. Or I might be wrong, and it's all just baseless conjecture. Either way, guys, I love their dynamic now, moving forward. After all is said and done, they have a heart-to-heart, and it's a very nice moment. They cook together, which is like the fastest way into Mika's heart. But then these other dudes just show up and interrupt them, and I remember watching that scene, because it was literally like a few minutes ago, and I was watching that scene and thinking, get out of here! Why are you guys here? Stop interrupting this moment that I, as a shipper, am eating up. Get out of here. But they don't. They pass around the food they made together. But whatever. They share a drink. Mika gets hung over and Takita, gets mad at him for not waking her up to share the food they made. It was just a fun episode. This is probably my favorite episode so far. I just really like the way all of the relationships are forming. Vana Bell was kind of a nothing character up until now. Not that she was a nothing character, but this is the first episode to actually focus on her, and I'm not sure how many of those there will be moving forward. Takita is very much the main character of the show so far. But hey man, I enjoyed it. I ship them to the end of the earth now. Airship them even, if you want to say. And that was the episode. It was fun. Visuals were gorgeous as always. Takita still has the best facial expressions in the business. And yeah guys, thanks for watching if you did. Those are my thoughts about it. If you didn't watch, you don't care. So have a good day.